Hello all, welcome back to my channel. So in the previous video, we downloaded Visual Studio Code and also the compiler and made sure that the compilation is successful with a simple Hello World program. So now that we know C++ is an object-oriented programming language, but when we compare it with C, which is a procedure-oriented programming language, let's see what's the main difference between the object-oriented programming language and the procedure-oriented programming language, and what was the main reason or the need for us to move from procedure-oriented programming language to object-oriented programming language. So the C language or the procedure-oriented programming language is divided into multiple functions. If you can see here, the program is divided into multiple functions or procedures, and these functions are interdependent on each other. And they have their own each function have their own local data, and also different functions share the global data as well. So which means that the global data, like any function can modify that global data. Modify the global data, which means that the data movement in procedure oriented programming language is high, which is again an indication that the data security is less. So this is the main reason why we moved from the procedure oriented programming language to the object oriented programming language, which provides higher data security. So in the object oriented programming language, the data and functions would be wrapped into a single unit called object. So the data and functions are wrapped together into a single entity called object. So each object has its own state and attribute or behavior. Example could be any real world entity for that matter. So using which we can solve the real world problems. We can solve the real world problems. As we know that the data and functions are wrapped into a single entity, the data movement would be less here. So in the way, the data security would be high. And also the other way how the object-oriented programming language brings in the data security is by using the access specifiers. We have something called access specifiers here in object-oriented programming language. So that is the public, private, and protected. So if we provide the public access specifier, which means that anyone can access the data. If it is private, nobody else can access the data. Only the member functions of that specific entity or object can access the data members. So if anyone else want to access, then we have to create friend functions. Anyways, these things we will discuss in the our upcoming videos. The main thing is that we have public, private, and also one more is the protected, where which is similar to private access specifiers, but the thing is that we can the derived class, one level of derived class members can access this data as well. So this is how, by using the access specifiers concept, the data security is brought in here in object oriented programming language. And also to speak on a higher overview, the program is divided into different into parts, which is known as objects. Here in the object oriented programming language, the program is divided into parts which are known as objects, and each object has its own state, attribute, or behavior, as I mentioned. And objects can communicate these data and functions, or one object, object 1, object 2, object 3 till object n can communicate with each other via message passing. And also here the one best concept is that the code reusability, by using this inheritance concept, we don't have to write that code again and again. We can go for the code reusability here. And in the object oriented programming language, the main focus is on the data rather than the algorithm. So this is the main reason why we go for object oriented programming language. So yeah, this was all about the main difference between procedure oriented programming language C, where the focus is more on the functions, and the data movement is high, the data security is less. But in the object oriented programming language, where the focus is mainly on the objects, and the data movement would be less and the data security would be high. So yeah, so that's the main reason why we moved to the object oriented programming language. So in the large scale or the complex applications where the data security is of great need, then object oriented programming language comes handy. Yeah. And in the upcoming video we will discuss regarding the main features of this object oriented programming, that is encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. So thanks for watching the video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Yeah, thank you.